Hi, this is Mark Snyder with Worshipsong Band, and I'm going to be showing you some new capabilities that I've been kind of on a journey of adding to Worshipsong Band. And where this came from was I recently started using an omnichord, which is sort of a chord playing and strum plate based instrument. I recently started using that. I have arthritis and I can't play guitar anymore, so I took that up to kind of rekindle doing music. And as I did that, I started playing like both worship music and kind of cover music. And I got into some groups that were using like different kind of backing track technology. And there's most backing tracks that secular people use are they're based on pre-recorded audio, which is very similar to. Um, Let me just turn this video off real quick. You don't need to look at me forever. They're based on pre-recorded audio, but there's still some people using MIDI as well. And I sort of started looking at MIDI technology, and then also when you play the omnichord, you're actually playing MIDI into your um, into an application. You can hook the omnichord up to your computer and play voices on it using MIDI. And so I realized as I did that uh, there's actually MIDI is like was invented. I don't know how long ago, maybe 50 years or something. I don't know, but it remains the foundation of digital music, and it's come a long way. So let me start by playing probably what you think of when you hear MIDI. So this is a good father played in MIDI. So there's like a guitar in there. It sounds kind of electric, or electronic. Probably not something you would use in your church. I guess maybe some people would, but in general, it's probably what you think of when you hear MIDI. When you hear me use the word MIDI, and the reason that is, I mean, there's actually a really interesting history, but the main reason that you hear this, at least on Windows PCs, when you hear MIDI, is because uh, Roland sold a sound module. They licensed it to Windows way back in the Windows 98 days, and that's been the sound module that's been shipped with every version of Windows ever since. So when you hit play, it's playing through this thing called a Microsoft GS Wavetable synth. That's like a 1998 version Roland keyboard. Basically, that's kind of what you're hearing. Anyway, so that's enough of that. We're not actually gonna listen to that much. Anyway, so in playing around with MIDI and specifically with VST hosts, like with my Omnichord, I realized like there might actually be an opportunity to resurrect the concept of using MIDI and it might have relevance to worship song band and it might have relevance to churches. Could we identify what the interface would be between worship song band and MIDI playback, and then let you use MIDI? And there's some reasons to do that. There's actually quite a few reasons. One of them being cost, but I don't even think cost is the most important reason, and I'll get into that later. Anyway, so one of the things that I knew in doing that was that in the audio engine that Worship Song Band uses, which if you read kind of the help, you'll see it's based on an audio engine called Fmod. Fmod is actually its primary market is in the game market, and so they've been around for a long time. And so Fmod originally, because game music on PCs originally was based on MIDI. Fmod has MIDI capabilities in it, and one of the things it has is it has the ability to replace that GS wavetable sound font with something sounding a lot better. So this is kind of the second level here. I'm going to play a snippet of 10,000 Reasons, and this is being played in Fmod, and it's being played with an alternate sound font to the one that is built into Windows. You can hear kind of what this sounds like. So I think that's okay. It's pretty good. It's approaching what you might use in a church. And the nice thing about it is the way that we've integrated this in. It'll just kind of work in Worshipsong Band, including like on mobile platforms and stuff. Um, so that's an option. But I'm going to show you a couple more options that I think are more compelling, because this gives you the ability to play the song. It doesn't really give you the ability to tailor the song. But anyway, so it has pretty nice bass. Pianos are okay. The guitars are a little romplery. Rompler is basically the name for the old sound fonts that got downloaded into graphics cards on like the early 2000s PCs. They called those romplers because they were basically designed to fit in a small amount of memory and to still sound good. And so that's that class, and I think that's a little bit better keyboard. Maybe that's like a 2004, 2005 class MIDI keyboard where you could plug in a MIDI cable to your keyboard and it would play. It's about like that. All right. So, like I said, I was using the Omnichord with VST host, and I thought, well, is there a way to make Worshipsong Band output MIDI tracks the way my Omnichord did and play them through a VST host, and could I get an even better sound? And so what I did was I worked on that some, and I came up with an approach to be able to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up this song, which is 10,000 Reasons again, but this is being played in a totally different way. So the way this is being played is Worshipsong Band is not playing the audio. It's feeding out the multitrack MIDI via a virtual MIDI cable to this application here, which is called Pedalboard. So Pedalboard is basically a very lightweight and free VST host. And then I'm going to play this for you, and then I'm going to show you kind of how this sound is being made. And then you can sort of hear the evolution and kind of where this is right now. So I'm going to go back to Worshipsong Band. I'm going to start this kind of in the middle here and then play parts of this. Anyway, so that's 10,000 Reasons being played through that VST host. So Worshipsong Band is not making any of the audio when I'm doing this. It's basically feeding the MIDI out, and that VST host is making the audio. So the way the audio is actually being made is, so a VST host, what it does is it basically lets you wrap these things called VSTs, which stands for virtual synth technology, more or less. It lets you basically chain those together and put a bunch of them together and feed either audio or MIDI into them, and then they actually make the sound. So what's making the sound in this is a VST called Expand 2, and that's what you're looking at right here. So Expand 2, like I don't know how many of you might have used like the Logic Pro DAW. For years, Expand 2 was the it came with Logic Pro. So if you needed to put some instruments in Logic Pro, you could pop this on your tracks in there, and then you could pick sounds on there. But it's sold standalone. I think a couple years ago they started selling it as a standalone VST. And so retail it's like $100, but on sale, most VSTs you can buy really cheap on sale. And this particular VST is you can buy it for 25 or so dollars on sale. Okay, and what's nice about it is all the sounds that you were hearing in that track, and then I'm going to play another track for you, were being made by this plugin. I have multiple kind of instances of it running, and so what you're going to hear is different voices in there. So I have like 4 of the MIDI channels coming out of Worshipsong Band being played by this instance of the plugin. So there's a natural grand piano, that bass you heard, another piano, which is the melody track, or just a different piano, and then smooth hybrid, which is like the ooh and ah vocal, which I had turned off. And then I have a second version of this, which is basically configured as a standard drum kit, basically. So this will be like a selector means it's selecting all of the sounds that are kind of programmed into MIDI for a standard drum kit, except it's got pretty nice sound. So I've got hats, Tom Sims, kick snares, and then cowbell and whatever that you might have. So all those are coming off of MIDI channel 10, and MIDI channel 10 is where you always get. That's not that one. It's this one. You always get. Channel 10 is where all the drums are. So 10 is being mapped to 1 and being fed into this plugin. And then there's another one that's doing a couple of the strings and a couple of the other guitars and some of that. Anyway, so, and then this final one is being used for the metronome, basically, which I put on channel 15. And then that's just mapped to a octave kalimba, which gives me my, my high and low metronome sounds. So basically, I'm also creating the click, and then like in here, you can route to multi-channel out and stuff. It depends on your sound card, but you can basically wire these out in different ways to your different channels, and you would have basically a different routing capability. So let me play another one for you here. I'm going to switch to Good Good Father here. So what happened there is that switched. I sent a MIDI command over to pedalboard, and it switched pedalboard to a different set of patches. It only takes like a second though, which is really nice. These VSTs, the Expand VST, is very fast loading. It's designed for in this form. It's designed for live performance. Anyway, so I'll start this like kind of in the middle here, so you can hear. Kind of tailored like a 12 string in here. So I think it has a nice punchy sound. I mean, it's definitely like light years above that original MIDI that we heard. Everything, all the instruments are pretty cleanly separated. That's a distorted electric guitar that was in this track. You can hear it has some growl to it. It has a decent amplifier kind of cut to it. And then like you can turn these down, so like you can mix them just like you can in Worshipsong Band. They act a little differently because it just reduces the velocity of the notes, but if I wanted less strings and less piano, mix it. I could also mix it over in the other plugin too. I usually leave them up in here because they don't actually sound too loud when you turn them up. They're just a little more punchy. But what's really cool about these is that I've got the chord chart done in here, and they can be played in any of the 12 keys, and there's no distortion. So like I can say, okay, I actually want that in A. So let's go up to D. So that's like quite a few semitones. Now let's hear the same thing. You can hear the bass is higher. The guitar is pretty high there, but you could octave the guitar down and the plug-in or something if you wanted to. Also, the tempo change works just fine. So if I wanted the whole thing to be faster, it just plays the MIDI notes at a faster rate, but it doesn't distort at all. So it's like way more flexible that way. This is like 72 or something originally. But what's also nice is, and here's where I think the real value of this is. It's well, number one, it's like super cheap. So I'll tell you where I got these tracks. I got these tracks from this site right here. These guys have like 1,100 tracks. They have a lot of the CCLI 100. It's not super current sometimes, but they're $2 each. So the original track I paid for you was $2 each, and everything else I'm generating in Worshipsong Band and in that VST host. They're really cost effective for the sound you're getting in my mind. But beyond that, the real cool part of this is that when you use pre-recorded multitracks, you have one control that you can do. You can turn them down or you can turn them up. You can turn them off, which means that if they're your virtual band, your band sounds like that band. And I know there's like a ton of debate about what is our multitracks karaoke and all that stuff, and we offer multitracks at Worshipsong, so like I can't really say that that's a bad thing, but I do think it takes away from you creative license that this kind of thing can give back to you, because like I said, like, so let's say for instance, let's go back to 1,000 Reasons here, and I'll go back to my my pedal board here, switch it to 1,000 Reasons, and then I'm going to say like I really wanted more of a high acoustic guitar in there, right? So I can go in here, it's actually not this one, it's this one, and I can say, well, my let's see, where is it here? There's no guitar in 1,000 Reasons, my bad. There's a guitar in Good Good Father. So let's go to that. You can see how fast that loads. This guitar. I've got the 12-string acoustic in there. But let's say what I really wanted was like more harmonics in my guitar. I could go to my acoustic guitars here, if I could find them. And then I go to, I could say I want a 12-string acoustic plus added harmonics instead, okay? Then I'll go to Good Good Father here. Right, I'll go back to that. I'm still kind of working out how so I've still got my 12-string acoustics from harmonics. And then let's hear a little bit with the guitar in it. So you can hear how much more acoustic is capping off onto the top of the sound. And that might be what you want for your church, right? So you can tailor it, and that you cannot do that with a regular multi-track, but you can do it with this. So um, I think I think that it has the potential to like give the worship leader back creative license that maybe he doesn't have right now. But anyway, so all this to kind of say, um, you know, a lot of what Worship Song Band is has sort of begun with experimentation. This is really not different. I think this is worth releasing because I think that um, it's going to offer something new to what you can do with apps like this. And it's gonna it's fun. I mean, it actually is really fun to go in and pick those VST voices and tailor the sound and stuff. Um, it is gonna mature a little bit over time. There's a couple other videos I'll make as I sort of mature the process by how we make multi-track MIDIs in terms of like there's a couple different tools I've used and in order to do that, and there might be some opportunity to improve the operation of that. It builds a little bit more of that into Worship Song Band, but this is going to be released as part of the 9.5 release very soon. And so yeah, if you're interested in it, you want to play around with staging some songs. You're a church that wants to buy those $2 tracks, and or you want to tailor the sound. I think you may find this to be an interesting proposition. So, but it'll be in there. It's not going to change the operation of the app at all if you don't use it. So, but I wanted to make you aware that this was coming. So. Let me know what you think and if you guys want to start playing with it.